Good evening, friends. We'll start with today's session, a philosophy session. And we are discussing regarding the chapter number 12 from Kant's philosophy, where he tried to explain the concept of how to treat homeopathically. That is the removal of the totality of the symptoms means removal of the disease, at the same time removal of the cause. And that concept he tried to impose on your mind that what is exactly the disease? It is not the cellular or
आज वैसे भी इनको खुशी होता है आपको भी
tissue
होता है
pathology. It is not any tissue pathology or cellular pathology, but the disease is prior to it. Disease is in the specifically derangement of vital force at the dynamic plane, and the ultimate lies in the cellular pathology or tissue pathology. And when a case of tissue pathology or cellular pathology comes to you, at that time you have to consider the only the signs and symptoms, the totality, and not the pathology directly. Your prescription should be based upon those symptoms which are prior to this pathology and which are indicating the actual disease in its own manifestations. And those, if you are able to catch, you can treat it with the help of law of similars with a right medicine in right potency. And that concept he tried to explain over there in those aphorisms. So he started with the aphorism number 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. All those aphorisms are related with this concept, how to tackle all those disorders. So we have finished up to the page number 115 on my page, my book. Aphorism 19 we have finished. And now the last aphorism of this chapter we're going to discuss. What he says in the aphorism number 20, Hahnemann says, this spirit-like power to alter man's state of health and hence to cure diseases, which lies hidden in the inner nature of the medicines, can never be discovered by us by mere efforts of reason. It is only by experience of the phenomena it displays when acting in the state of health of a man that we can become clearly cognizant of it. Cognizant means known. And what he says, every medicine which is there in the homeopathy, it is not the product of just thought or what I feel. It is not developed just because of the thinking process. It is actually, we know every power of that drug only by proving them on healthy human beings. It is the thing which is necessary in order to understand the power of that medicine. So we have to give it to the many provers. We have to give it to the both genders. We have to give it to the multiple ages, right from childhood to the adults. Everyone, you have to prove it. You have to prove it at a different times with different potencies at a different places. And if you prove that remedy, then and then you'll understand exactly what that medicine will going to produce. Then you know the whole materia medica. Then you actually know what power is there in that medicine to penetrate inside the human being. And once you know that, then it is rather simple to apply the law of similars in the patients. So our materia medica is enriched with all signs and symptoms. Our materia medica is full of this symptomatology and which are more of a subjective nature than the objective. And subjective pathology is very important because subjective symptoms gives you individualization. It is very easy to individualize the case on the basis of subjective symptoms, which is not possible with the objectives. And that's why Hahnemann says that tangible products, tangible pathology never gives you an individualization. So this aspect he tried to explain over there in this paragraph. Let us see what Kant want to say about this paragraph. There is only one way of finding out what aconite will do to the economy, and that is to give it to many men and note the symptoms of these men experience as manifestations of aconite. So he is explaining the process of proving. If you want to prove aconite, you have to give it to many men. many peoples. Actually, the word should be peoples. It is not like men. Men means males. It is not like that. Many persons. It is first necessary to know that drugs can make man sick. Very important is that you must know that if you give that medicine to the patient, to the prover who is healthy enough, you must know that it will going to make him sick. If there is a capacity to produce make him sick, that medicine will going to work for that individual. So it is first necessary to know that drug can make man sick, and next to know what that state of sickness is. Then you have to understand what sickness it produces, what functional symptoms it will going to produce. It will not going to produce any cellular or structural changes. It will going to produce only and only the functional manifestations. So this is too important. Once we know what it produces, then we can apply. Every medicine that a homeopath uses should have been thoroughly proven upon the healthy, so that its symptoms in image shall have been thoroughly brought out. It is a burning shame upon the homeopathic profession that so large a number of drugs exist in the homeopathic pharmacies, and that these drugs are recommended for such and such diseases without any investigation as to their properties, other than perhaps that Dr. So and so, on the recommendation of some old woman, has used this or that drug for dropsy. Such a thing is positively condemned in every line of Organon and in by every doctrine. So he is explaining over there that mm, so he has specifically explained about it that if you are using the medicines on the basis of names of the drugs, for example, someone have told you that that doctor used to use the arsenic album for diarrhea, and then you never read the Materia Medica what type of diarrhea the arsenic album produces, what type of stools are there, what is the characteristic, what is the state of the patient, how the patient presents. If you don't know all those things, only on the recommendation that that doctor gives the arsenic, if you start giving the arsenic, it is not called as a homeopathy. Prior, before going or before prescribing a medicine, you must know the whole materia medica which is proved on healthy human beings. You must be acknowledged regarding this thing, and then on the basis of symptom similarity, you must able to catch the right remedy. See, this is too important. Once you understand this, then it is called as a homeopathy. Otherwise, it is not called as a homeopathy. So you are not you just there is not a fixed prescription. So for headache, there is a belladonna. For acidity, there is an Oxomica. This is not so. Every patient is different. So every patient will going to present it in a different manner. We must know that specifically. And if we are able to know that, then we can use that remedy in such a manner. If you know, if you find it out exactly, if you are able to prescribe APCs for dropsy, then question arises, apocynon is also for dropsy. Then you know that Kalikap is also for the dropsy. Then how will you going to prescribe? Because that doctor have given the epis for dropsy, we should give the epis for dropsy. This is not a homeopathy. Epis is one of the remedy which produces the dropsy, but it is not the thing. Here you have to find it out what is the difference of epis with the apocynon. We must know that apis is a hot remedy, the apocynon is the chilly remedy. Apis is where there is a dropsy without thirst. Apocynon is having dropsy with thirst. We must know everything, and then we can prescribe, we can judge depending on the symptomatology of that patient. Yes, this is the remedy. So he explains over there such a thing. Such a thing is positively condemned in every line of Organon and by every doctrine. There is no principle in it. It is unscientific and unworthy of the vocation of doctor. So, vocation of a doctor means a profession of a doctor. This is not a homeopath. who used to fix the remedies with the patients or on the name of the diseases. This is not homeopathy. Homeopathy is like that. Your prescription should be based upon what symptomatology it used to produce. And once you understand the totality of the symptoms, then your prescription should be ready. It is not based upon any specific name. Every drug must be thoroughly proven upon healthy. See, what he says, every drug which you are going to use should be proved on healthy human being. In our study of Mater Medica, I do not encumber you to with the partially proved drugs. Encumber means to obstruct you. एखाद्या गोष्टीच्या आड येणं. What he says in our study of Mater Medica, I do not encumber you with partially proven drugs. We can study these after we have studied those that have been well proved. So what he says, if you know the thoroughly proved drugs, then your study for the partially proved drugs should start. First, you must acknowledge the drugs which are fully proven. We must know the Naxumica, we must know the Calcareca, we must know the Lycopodium, we must know the sulfur, we must know Natrum. All those drugs which are already well proven, but we must acknowledge them properly, then go for the partially proved remedy instead of directly studying the partially proved remedy. And this is what Kent says, and this is truth. I also recommend same thing. You must have the knowledge of the already proved drugs instead of going towards the remedies which someone have prescribed for such and such conditions, and you are using it in some manner. This is not homeopathy. You should not go for that. The guiding symptoms contains many medicines only partially proven, and it is often matter of accidents when cures are made with them. But the old remedies that have been handed down from the masters and that have had years of trial come to us as friends which we can learn of and become acquainted with. This is most important hint which he explained. You must know all those drugs which are absolutely well proven. And if you know them properly, then you can utilize them. You become friendly with all those remedies. If you understand them properly, then you can utilize them. And you get very good results with well proven remedies than the partially proven remedies. You cannot become acquainted with unproved drugs. When books tell you that drug is good for this or that, pay no attention to them. But when book tells you that a drug has produced such and such symptoms, study these. That is the piece of valuable information. So if any remedy which is already proved and many provers have reproved it or many utilized it, the clinically it is verified, then that remedy is you know it and you can apply it confidently. And that's why well proven remedy is always you become confident while prescribing the well proven remedy. The last sentence to conclude this chapter, what is it? The old school Mater Medica is made up of the results of medicines upon sickness, an unscientific guide in fluctuating scale. So whatever is there in the old school, then their Mater Medica is just a few sentences. It is only the action what it has produced in the animals. It is not complete. It is not complete as homeopathy because we have included the subjective data as well as objective data. But in their case, they have included only objective data, and that is only on the basis of observations on animals, not on human beings. And because of which, you are not confident while prescribing all those remedies. So this thing which he tried to explain in detail in this specific chapter, and that's why he gives or explains totality of the symptoms is the sole indication with which you can approach and find it out the right remedy for the patient. So that's all about the chapter number 12, where he completes that, and then he starts with the chapter number 13 while explaining the importance of law of similar in comparison with the rest of the pathy. We'll start with this chapter tomorrow. Tomorrow is set Friday. Yes, tomorrow we'll start with this chapter and then we'll continue with the rest of the thing. So that's all for today. If any query is there, we'll have a chat. Otherwise, we'll conclude. Any question? So we'll conclude and we'll meet at 8:30 with the remaining part of the Nakshamika, and we'll finish most probably today or next lecture the Nakshamika. So that's all for today. Thanks a lot.